Hello, friends. There were some questions about the order flow analysis of today's movement in Nifty, and because there was a lot of two-way movement, I think today is a good example to try and discover and and see how we could have interpreted and what was the interpretation like, and basis what did I say certain things in the group. Okay, so we'll just quickly look at a couple of scenarios and keep it a short one. Before we get into order flow, I think I always keep telling in the group as well. I think what is more important is to build a context, okay? Because order flow is the flow, but the flow of the market or the flow of orders, whatever you call it, it seems will seem very meaningless, or without the context of where we are coming from, what levels are we talking at, and things like that. Okay, so today, today, what was the plan? First of all, today the plan was this. We said about 750 is the support ranges. Okay, so I think. We said around this thing 700 750 at that point at the market open, and then 850 as a potential resistance ranges, okay, in the market. So now if you see why resistance, and the primary was to look for short and pullback. The reason is simple. I think yesterday we closed lower, we closed on the lower end of the value, and until we really get above these 850, the mid ranges of yesterday, I think the possibility of a down move remains open. Okay, so levels we are dealing with before the market open is 700 and 750. Sorry, 750 and 850 at the top. Okay, so now what happened at the open itself? Open, if you see, look at the candle. Look at the first candle. I think the low was exactly around this, 750 levels, a little 745, 750, and though the buying was not very strong, if you see the delta and orders, they were not like earth shaking and big. What was not there was selling. So this was more, the up move at this point was more on because of lack of selling than actually buying at this level. Okay, now then once we hit, immediately it moved to 850, 850 levels, which was a sort of a resistance level, and I think I mentioned in the group there, look for absorption and look for rotation from 850. Okay, now at 850, what started happening, if you see, at the top there were a lot of buying. Ideally, this buying should have propelled market higher. Okay, then there was a lot of buying here at the top itself. Okay, again, this should have propelled market higher, but it was not happening. So it clearly was a sign that there are limit sellers present here, and 850 is an active level we want to track. Okay, you might take presumptive trades here itself, knowing that some entries here, or preferably look for a short candle with a decent delta like this and this, to start taking an entry where the candle has broken the lows or closed around the view app, to start taking an entry here also. So there are two ways to do it. I would sometimes take a test entry at this level, and then once I think the idea is confirmed, I will enter the rest of the positions here. Okay, so that was the analysis of one trade was right here. If you could take it, I couldn't really do much around it. One, any lack of selling, buying to test 850, then we took the short here way down. Okay, and that was the second movement from those levels. Once the levels are in place, it's much easier to take a trade, because you know where you're looking to take the trade actually. Okay, then if you see on the downside, what has happened is, once we broke this, there are a lot of traders who would typically trade the range lows, break, and all those things. And on the downside, what we saw is there was a lot of absorption going on, 16K, 13K, 64K here, 13K here, and the prices were still holding up despite a lot of selling. If you see minus 32 go minus 87K, prices were holding up. And then I think that was a clue that there is market is again finding support at 750 levels here, and then we saw the bounce back from these levels again. Okay, so that's how this trade played out. And then again, from if you see, once this bounce back happened, what happened after this? Okay, after this, once we sort of moved above, we were up again trying to test that 850 levels. Is the second time the market was trying to test this level. So there are two kinds of players, one who was providing support here with limit buying, and then there was a guy who was providing selling it. So one of them has to be sort of taken out. One of them has to really give up, right? Either this guy gives up or this guy gives up. So eventually the sellers again, so you are seeing absorption here, 27K, 18K delta, but price is not doing much, if you see. And then but the selling was also weak, and the market was trying to build a range. So whenever market is in a range, no significant delta on either side, what we look for is a break on one side and for a potential trade. So this was the candle that broke that level, and again, for a potential down move trade, your target should be these days low or lower than this, you know any ranges that we have in mind. Okay, So and then eventually market did come lower to this level again. We saw a lot of selling and absorption sort of taking place here, and this is where the down move eventually paused and sort of market just rotated around towards the close, I think. So if you look at a context point of view, we had one here from bounce from the support, very quick, not much tradable, but this was cleanly tradable too. Move from there. Then this was cleanly tradable because we saw a lot of absorption happening here on the delta chart. You can start looking at the bar stats. Delta bars also sometimes, if you don't want to look at the numbers, delta bars give a very good visual confirmation of what trade might happen. And then we saw prices rotate here, prices pausing here, not doing much, two-way movement, no much delta. The bars were all thin on the delta bar side, and then this impulse moved down where we have this trade again. Okay. So, three or four good scenarios played out, all different contexts where lack of selling, absorption, large absorption, again impulse selling, and then again absorption here. Okay, so couple of scenarios played out. These scenarios, happen very often in different market conditions. Look out for these, and we'll have around your levels of interest. And as I said, also try to follow the plan that we give. Try to watch for these around those levels, and you'll have some great trading opportunities, I think. Okay, that's all, guys. I think we'll keep it a short one. Yeah, thank you.